Hello, my name is Nina Arnberg. I am faculty at Menlo School, and I'm joined here with Lily and Andre, her mentor Andrea. So thank you for joining us. Great presentation, Lily. I'm always so impressed because I am not in computer science, and I hear AI as a buzzword all the time. As a faculty, we're working on AI related things, but I really know no things. So I learned a lot from your presentation, and I'm sure you've learned a lot from doing this project as well as working with Andrea. Um, I just have a question for you, Lily, to get us started. Is you talked a lot about debugging, and I hear that a lot from students working on computer science related projects, but also I'm married to a computer science scientist who talks a lot about debugging. How do you push through the challenges that debugging brings? Because it seems like it's a less exciting part of the project, but an important sort of milestone or obstacle to overcome. Sort of how do you find the persistence to stay with the debugging to get through the fun project that you wanted to work on?
Yeah, so it's definitely hard when you're like, there was one night where I was just like up all night because it was like a weekend and I was just like did not want to quit because I just really wanted to get
Mm.
it done. I think that it is important to sleep though so that you can come back to it on a fresh mind. But the way that I go through it even when it's like really frustrating is like I think that like sometimes with independent projects it's kind of hard to find that motivation, but for stuff like this where it's like actually like I knew like okay, I have a deadline in 2 weeks.
Mm.
I really just got to get through it because I just need this to be done. Like that really helped me because it's like structured and like I actually have a deadline and I have a date I have to do it by. Versus I think if I picked this up independently, I would have been like, oh, I'll do
Mm.
it later because there's no like actual like I have to get it done by a
Mhm.
date. So I think that the structure helped me a lot.
Great. Andrea, what words of wisdom did you have to share with Lily as far as getting through the debugging and maybe things that you employ yourself as you're debugging in your own work?
Um, yeah, right now at my own work, I don't do debugging. I change my career, not because of that. Um, but I think like when I had to do it, definitely sleeping is important. So I think that that's an important thing because it does help you th see things better. And being patient and also being okay with pushing the deadline a little bit, and then not putting that much pressure on yourself because it is okay. At the end of the day, you will make it. But it
Mhm.
is nice to have like like a coach, mentor guiding you, like, okay, let's try next week again and so on. Because yes, when you don't have that, it's harder to like keep going. But just my only advice would be to just be gentler with yourself that it is okay if you don't get it, and so on. But I love your determination, and that is also a very good skill to have.
Yeah, the persistence to push forward no matter the challenge and
Yes,
that having that skill doesn't serve you just in debugging code, but also in a lot of things, moving
Yeah.
sort of forward and
I
past.
agree.
Same with
Yes.
what Andrea was saying, having that mentor there every week, knowing that I was going to get that help every week was also very
Mhm.
helpful.
Yeah, support is always really
Everyone.
important, right? When you're working through something challenging, just to know that you have support
Yeah,
is really
exactly.
important and that you had those weekly check-ins. Did you have the intention to have sort of the quiz part of the component to help individuals match with charities
Mhm.
all along? Or is that something you developed while you were thinking about like, okay, how would I recommend charities as opposed to just kind of maybe having a button where you sort through things, but
Mhm.
having it be sort of in quiz format?
Mhm. Yeah, it actually took me a while to figure out what exactly I wanted to do. Like I knew that I was gonna have this really great mentor with like this knowledge in AI.
Mm.
So I was thinking like I definitely want something to do with AI here. And and then I was also thinking about Mena at Menlo, and I was
Mhm.
thinking like, what do I actually have a problem for in my life that I could potentially solve? And so that was really just the first thing that came to mind because I think like right when we started this project, we were thinking about that bake sale and about
Mhm.
where we were going to donate that to. Um, and so yeah, I think that just all those things coming together just led me to this. I think that the AI being like in the form of a quiz, I don't really know where I got that from. I think that like my dad might have suggested it to
Mhm.
me like as like a way to make it like interactive
Mhm.
with the user. So yeah, I think like I just had a couple moving pieces and they all just came together. And that's just what it ended up as.
Mhm. Great. Yeah. I think it's so important to start with like a challenge or something that you just want solved and you're like, wait, maybe I can do this myself instead of waiting for someone else to suggest something, is that you come up with something to solve your own problem. In the presentation, we had a question regarding using Llama. And I am a novice in this area, so please correct me if even my questions are not formulated correctly. But what are some of the, other than cost, what are some of the differences between the different options that a person would have in not only learning AI, but also integrating AI? Do you have a sense of the sort of disadvantages and advantages other than cost?
Oh, I think Andrea would probably know more than
Yes. You're talking between the large language models, like the difference between ChatGPT and Llama.
Yes.
So there are many differences. The biggest one is the cost, because let's say we wanted to make this public, right? So if it's public, anyone can use it, and if we have our credit card in the ChatGPT one, then that will start getting charged. So imagine if this goes viral, we don't like it will just start charging us for every, like they have like prices per token, or like how much your prompt, how big your prompt is, and then they will charge you based on that. So this one did not require that, so that was like a important piece since we were just like testing at the moment. But then one second thing that you want to consider is your data. So I mean, in OpenAI, you can have a little bit more of control, they say, but I mean, it's not clear yet. But they might not use your data for retraining.
Mhm.
And then in Llama, they will use your data for retraining. But here, we're not using any personal data, such as we're not asking for the name, the age,
Mm.
none of that. And then we're not like getting like something that someone made and putting it into the training. So I think in this scenario, it both were fine with the in terms of data privacy and so on.
Mhm. Great, thank you for
Yeah.
that. What I love about the Magic program, especially at these final presentation days, it's always exciting to hear what the students and the mentors have been working on. And the product is always really exciting to learn more about and talk about. But I also just love the piece, which is the human connection piece, especially if we're talking about AI, right? Like, what does AI do for us and what makes us human? I think this program really makes us human. Andrea, could you speak to a little bit about sort of anything that surprises you or surprised you during this mentorship, not necessarily technical, but in working with who I think is an amazing high schooler and
Yes.
human being, Lily. Are there things that you sort of take back or things that surprised you about your partnership with Lily this session?
Let me think. Many things surprised me. Like given her grade and her age, I was not expecting her to be like to know as much about different things, and to be so motivated to learn new things. I remember one time she was telling me like, "Oh, now I think I need to learn about my finances," and things like that, and like where should I invest, like in which stock and so on. And I was like, "Wow!" At that age, I was in such a different mind. I don't know. So I think just the overall, and I was surprised because she was not just like smart in coding and smart in like maybe deciding what to study next, but also she was kind. She was very interested in helping people, and she was so mindful of we had some issues with like meeting because of the time difference, and she was always very mindful, like it's okay, I will work at this time or this time, and she was always mindful of me, and I was also trying to be mindful of her. But in general, like she's like very complete. And she's so young, and she was also, oh, I also need to take care of my health, like my wellness, my mind. So it's like everything. So I was just surprised that she is so complete at this age. So I'm very happy, and I hope you can continue like expanding in every area, not just academically, but also in your heart and so on. You're very, very smart and kind.
Thank you.
Very sweet. And how about for you, Lily, the mentorship piece? Was there anything that surprised you in your conversations and support that you sought out from Andrea?
Yeah, no, I think it was just like a really good experience, not just because of like what I learned, but also just like being able to like, collaborate with someone and like, someone that's like not from my school and someone who I didn't know before. And I thought that like I've never done anything like that before. And I thought it was a really good experience. And like we ended up like really connecting, and like I thought that it was like honestly like the perfect mentor, because I feel like she was like she had all the right skills, but then also like I felt like we just like got along very well.
Great. Well, that's always exciting to hear, and I'm inspired by these students every day. That's what makes teaching at this school really exciting, and working with these kids, really. I mean, you guys are young adults, but you're really kids, and sometimes we forget that because you are functioning at such a high level,
Yes.
not only just academically, but just in your consideration of the people that you're working with. So thank you again, Andrea, for mentoring for this program, and thank you, Lily, for showing interest and engaging. Hopefully it's been a positive experience for all of you, and it's been a pleasure for me to connect the two of you together and to hear about your wonderful work.
Yeah, thank you for introducing me to it, and thank you so much, Andrea. I learned a lot.
Thank you, Lily. I also learned a lot. And thank you, everyone in the program. This was great.